This podcast was recorded during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the series being covered here would not exist.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it. Welcome to Artie's Attic, a Warehouse 13 Fancast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor with a co-ed purple goo shower specialty cleanup. Yeah, I'm SP. Leading the Artie's Attic warehouse agents is Shannon, who kidnapped us and force-fed us cookies until we agreed to podcast with her.
That's awesome. Yes, I force-fed you. Let's go. I'm ready.
And now, recording her third podcast ever and fresh back from vacation is longtime sci-fi fan and collector of geek earrings, Agent Carolyn.
Lots of geek earrings. And at least I don't smell fudge. I haven't smelled fudge
yet.
I like to smell apples.
We'll get there eventually, Shannon.
It's a different podcast. Okay.
Well, a different episode. This will be this podcast, but it'll be many, many episodes in the future. On this episode, we're going to continue our discussion of the mystical masterpiece from before there was an Amazon Home Assistant. Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 3, Magnetism.
I thought it was a good episode. I told you it wouldn't take you very long before Micah and Pete started forming that partnership and a friendship. And at the end of this one, you finally see it.
Yeah, except for the, it's not, he's not her type. She would like somebody with opposable thumbs.
Plus, he was subjected to domestic abuse.
Yes.
He liked it. You know he did.
Smacked him right in the nose several times.
This episode premiered July 21st, 2009. It was directed by Jace Alexander. He also directed the pilot. We went over his directing credits in episode 1. He has 49 of them starting in 1994, including 2 episodes of Xenia, Warrior Princess.
You mean Xena?
I do. I get confused because I live next to a town called Xenia. Literally, Xenia with an I before the A. So my apologies.
Just making sure. Just making sure we talk about the same thing.
It was written by Jack Kinney, who is the showrunner. He has 15 writing credits since 1987, including 6 episodes of Caroline in the City, 54 episodes of Titus, 8 episodes of Warehouse 13, 2 episodes of Falling Skies, and 2 episodes of Jessica Jones. It was co-written by Benjamin Robb, who has 10 writing credits since 2007, including 25 episodes of Afterworld, 17 episodes of the series Warehouse 13, 4 episodes of The Flash, 4 episodes of Arrow. I did cover Benjamin Robb over on Arrow. And then 2 episodes of the newer Quantum Leap. So guys, did you notice, or ladies, I guess, did you notice some of the more adept guest stars in this episode? You know where they were from?
The first time, I don't remember his name. The guy that played the paramedic, he was from SGU.
So he played Ross. His name was Ivan Sergi. He has 65 acting credits since 1990, including 23 episodes of Once a Thief, 22 episodes of Crossing Jordan, 11 episodes of Charmed, the old one, not the newer one, and 10 episodes of Gravity.
That's where I've seen him from, Charmed.
There you
The
go.
old one, not the new one. I wouldn't, no.
The new one was, I bailed on that one. It was one of the many, many series on Syfy that I bailed on.
Good choice.
Anybody else?
Oh, they played the cop. The guy that played the cop. I've seen him in something too.
Oh, okay. I didn't go into his IMDb. I can find that really quick.
Who's the father?
Cornell Womack was the sheriff. He has 54 acting credits, which is a lot. He was in the newsroom. One episode of the
Was
newsroom.
he in Winona?
I don't think so. I don't see him there. No. He goes back to 2002, so he's a 2000 actor. He was in one episode of Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles.
I think that's where I know him from. I watched that show. I liked that show. I was very sad when they canceled that show.
The father, Father Braid, was played by Philip Craig, who has 83 acting credits since 1996, including The Prince and Me, Time Traveler's Wife, an episode of The Handmaid's Tale, an episode of The Umbrella Academy, which I haven't seen. Have you ladies seen The Umbrella Academy?
I've
Once.
seen most of the first season. I haven't seen anything after that. I need to watch it. It's on the list.
That's a
Same here.
long list at the bottom right.
It's a huge list. And if we keep going with this writer's strike, then maybe I'll be able to catch up with some of my list.
That's my plan. He also did 11 episodes of the Hardy Boys series, so he's been around. Also, J.K. Kenny, who played the reporter, I bet you didn't catch her. She was really at the beginning when the events were starting to happen.
She was through the
And-
TV.
Yeah, she was on the TV.
She's a reporter. She has played a reporter on TV and movies 83 times.
No way.
Yeah.
Must have that.
She's always played a reporter.
Must
I'm
have
not
that
a
talk.
reporter, but I play one on TV.
I think she is a reporter. She played a reporter in Earth Final Conflict, in 4 episodes of Monk, in an episode of The Newsroom, Fever Pitch, that movie in 2005, that baseball movie, Pacific Rim,
Talk about being typecast. Or maybe she does it purposely.
an
Right.
episode of Schitt's Creek. I bet you, if you're a reporter, it's like, hey, I'll do this movie. I'll do this.
Yeah, I would probably be really good at that. Hmm.
Now, you are going to love this last one that I pulled out. We mentioned last week that the guest stars on this are just phenomenal. It's a great series to watch because you get a lot of people coming in because the core cast is so small. You get to bring in a lot of people. Well, Sister Grace Ellen has an uncredited actor by the name of Jennifer Vey. Does that name ring a bell to either of you two?
By the looks of your face, it should, but I don't know that.
79 stunt credits since 1997,
Oh.
including La Femme Nikita, Total Recall 2070, Relic Hunter, Witchblade, believe it or not, cheaper by the dozen too.
I liked Witchblade.
Yeah,
Nobody remembers that show.
it was in 2000. Cheaper by the dozen 2, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Nikita, Lost Girl, she played Lauren, or was Lauren's body double.
Lost Girl was nice.
Defiance, she was Amanda's body double.
Oh, okay. That's where.
That's where you're
okay,
like,
that's
you
it.
get yours to the best for last. So that means she
No.
really hit the snow.
What
I'm-
snow? There was no snow for her to hit. There was not a big enough snow bank for her to hit and to not get hurt that much. She would have gone splat.
Titans, The Handmaid's Tale, and drumroll please, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, body double for Lindy Booth.
I don't know who Lindy Booth is.
She was in the first season.
I do, but I don't remember.
Who's Lindy Booth? Did she dye a red shirt?
Lindy Booth was the daughter in the second episode that we were just watched. The gal that I said that was the gal from Librarians, redhead.
No.
You'd know her if you saw her face.
Probably. I'm like, was she a red shirt? Did she die? Did she not last long? I don't
But
know.
I don't remember who is she in Strange New Worlds.
She was in the first, I believe, the first season, and she was one of the guest background characters.
Oh,
So, yeah, not main crew or anything.
Red
but
shirt.
She was in there.
Red shirt. Red shirt.
Anybody that's not bridge crew, red shirt, red shirt.
Exactly.
Oh, you're not important. Red shirt. You're not important. Red shirt.
All right, Shannon, you liked this episode. You said that before.
I like that you finally have the chemistry showing up between Pete and Micah. Because, like I've said before, you don't really like Micah. She's pretty stuck up at the beginning of the first 2 episodes. So she's starting to relax a little bit more. She's starting to understand the assignment. And Pete is starting to be more Pete that you get to know and love throughout the entire series. And I just think that they work well together.
Yep. Micah was kicking some serious butt in the beginning there, kicking the cops while they were trying to take the blade from the guillotine.
I love that part.
Marie Antoinette's guillotine. That was the first artifact.
History.
Yes. I know. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, Shannon's going to like the history.
You know I do. I'm here for the history. And Micah. But I'm here for the history.
The blade is an artifact. It is a conduit for bloodlust and communism, triggered by conjunction of electromagnetic meridians on 14-year cycles, described as preternaturally sharp. I don't know what preternaturally means. And to be kept grounded, releases a shock wave of electricity when it falls.
Which is the big explosion
Which
that he
we
had.
saw it do.
Got a couple of big explosions because James' Braid chair exploded too.
Yes, it did.
It took a couple
After he hacked it to
whacks of
pieces.
it. It took a couple whacks to get it, but and in this episode that we don't really, if you've never watched it, which I can't imagine anybody who's listening to us hasn't, but the knock, knock, knock that you finally get at the end of this episode, we know who's coming.
Yes.
We know who's coming.
The Warehouse 13 power grid was designed, as told by Lena, by Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, and M.C. Escher.
I think it's funny that MC Escher, the person that like makes melting clocks and pictures that, keep going, are the one that designed the electrical grid of Warehouse 13. No wonder it always has an attitude. No wonder it has an attitude.
It does.
You have MC Ishner designing something like this, it's going to have an attitude.
Which is why you also have the Eschner vault, which is what's inside of the warehouse for the fallen warehouse agents.
What I want to know is, how do they keep finding fuses to keep this going? Because it's old. And how do they keep finding, like, Artie, like, just kind of wipes one off and blows on it, goes, boink. Oh, yeah, look, there, it still works. I'm like, how do you keep this going?
Maybe the warehouse is, like, just producing them for them.
Maybe.
I think that's part of needing somebody beyond Artie to come in and do some modernization, but still keep it in the steampunk style that it is.
Knock, knock, knock. She's coming. Steampunk.
Artie was kind of thrown into this warehouse. Like, he's not the one that's supposed to keep everything going. Like, he's supposed to keep everything going, keep all the stuff going, and then keep the warehouse working. And the warehouse doesn't really want him, but he's still got to get everything going. So this poor guy's trying to just keep it going while also snagging, bagging, and tagging. And poor guy just needs a vacation.
It's amazing that he keeps everything in track, and he keeps track of everything, and he keeps it going. And you're right, because he used to be just an agent with McPherson.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, it got thrust upon him by Mrs. Frederick. But I think the warehouse and him make a good team because they can talk to each other. He understands it. He knows it. And like I said before, at the very end, he finally gets that gratitude from the warehouse with the apple. So I love this episode. I like the series in general. I love it. Also, on a side note, this week I got a new position at my job, and now I'm going to be working in the warehouse. It's really hard for me not to type Warehouse 13 at the end of it, but I am a warehouse agent.
Yay! Now we really do need to get you like a badge that says Warehouse 13. Yeah, definitely. I did think it was kind of cool when you're watching Artie trying to scan the network for artifacts. He's got not only like 2 monitors where it's going just crazy, he's got this mouse that's just, he has to move
sideways.
He moves his whole hand on it. Like his whole hand has
It's
to
not
move on
natural.
it. And I'm like, what is that? How does he do that? How does he make sense of all of this? And then suddenly picks out one thing and goes, ooh, what's going on in Colorado? We must look at Colorado.
I remember seeing him at a con here in Dallas, and he was talking about how he had a humongous amount of, what do they call that? When you just have extra talk. What's the word?
Dialogue?
Thank you. But he just had dialogue that he had to remember. It was just jargons. And then eventually he just started making it up as he goes, and they just would keep it. Because he had a lot to remember. Talking about the artifacts, talking about what you got to go do. This is how you have to work, So, Saul Rubinek.
He's the man.
He's played on Star Trek before, too.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's a lot of Star Trek people that came to Warehouse, but he played on Star Trek. TNG, actually. But I just think he's a good actor, and I can't imagine anybody else more perfect for this role than him.
Yeah.
I think he's got a sense for the artifacts, just kind of like Pete, except for it's in tune with artifacts. And I think that's why he's still alive versus all the other agents that were around either before him or during his time. So him being able to pick out Unionville, Colorado, I think is just a sense of him on, hey, there's 3 unexplained things that happened there, and it happened in short order. There must have been an artifact involved. You guys need to go and find it before somebody actually dies.
It's Artie's vibes.
I can't remember it's probably season 3. I can't remember maybe season 4, when we finally get to learn how artifacts are created. And I think it was 4 whenever Mrs. Frederick was explaining to Claudia how things work, right? When she was supposed to be taken over. But you learn that it's emotional moments, or that's how you get connected to something. So like the blade coming down, I would imagine that's a very emotional moment, right?
Maybe. Just maybe.
For just a brief moment. Just a brief second.
Brief moment. And then it's gone.
But it creates that connection to the object. And then it's like rolling down then it's gone.
Yeah, and it's always usually something that is metallic too, because in the chair, it was the iron in it that was absorbing all of the energy.
Well,
the tuning fork of said energy was the voice. In this case, the pastor, but
they're not. I don't think they're
priest.
all magnetic.
I can't remember if he was a priest or a pastor.
There was
Priest or a pastor. Holy Moses!
Edgar Allan Poe's pen was what it was a artifact also.
Yeah, there's stuff that's wooden and stuff. This episode in particular is named Magnetism. So you get the magnetism of the guillotine, You get the magnetism of the chair. And also, we got another, I think, artifact. I think it actually is an artifact that Pete got, was Joseph Dunninger's watch.
Yeah, but it didn't set off any energy when it went in the bag. So I don't think it actually had any artifact energy, because there would have been like a big flash when it got pushed into the bag, and there wasn't any flash. So it may have been an artifact, but there was no flash. So
but what's cool is that you're finally seeing Pete, who never reads the manual, who never understands, but he's actually he's paying attention to what could be artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from Micah's standpoint, we learn that she can speak French.
Yes.
Because they're in the museum in Paris, and she's actually talking to the guards, où est la toilette, which is, where's the bathroom? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she, gets her. Although she does try to use the Tesla, but then low power.
Okay.
Yeah, she got one shot off.
I love in the first season, because later on they fixed that problem. In the first season, it's such a dramatic thing, and it shoots back, and it knocks her down almost. It knocks them down. I love, and it only has one charge. But later on in the season,
that was because Pete didn't put it on the charger before they left. He doesn't follow protocol.
No, he never does. But later in the seasons, it will shoot more than once, and you lose that gigantic reverberation that the shot back that they have. I just think that was funny. I was watching, like, I remember that. I remember this. This is so old school Warehouse, because later on, they don't have the problem.
I'm going to give Pete a pass here. And the reason why I'm going to give Pete a pass is the poor guy has had his truck blown up in the pilot, and now it's somehow in Lake Michigan. So
That was
the
cool.
dude is without a car, and his favorite truck, it's just not around, and he is mourning his truck.
Does it remind you of the sheriff in Eureka and his sheriff's car?
Yeah.
Something always happened to that sheriff's car.
I like
Poor
that
guy.
show.
I do. I miss that show. Every time I see Colin, though, on like any Hallmark shows, it's hard for me because I see him as the sheriff and I'm like, where's his Jeep? What's going to come out?
What is
And
it?
it's like, wait, Hallmark, that's not wrong show.
But he does the Maytag commercials too, right?
He does.
His Maytag.
And I still see him as like the mate, I'm like,
He's still in uniform. It's still the same.
he does have a uniform on.
He has these romantic movies on Hallmark, and I know he
Really
has it
hard.
in him. I know he has it in him. It's like the basis of his character in Eureka, actually. But
Yeah.
you're watching this and you're going, I have to dumb down my understanding of Colin because he is doing this romantic thing on Hallmark. Not that Hallmark you have to dumb down or anything, but because the ladies that he is assigned to in his romance, it's like you can't imagine them in Eureka. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They wouldn't
Yeah.
be the same.
Yeah.
For a brief second, let's go here. I don't mind the Hallmark Channel. I don't. But when you are a fan of certain people, like you said, you got to dumb down yourself because, okay, this is hard to get through. It's hard to watch. Let me just watch this on mute because I'm a fan. Right? Kat Burrell, my favorite, Officer Hot from Winona. Kat Burrell, since she's left Winona, she's done a lot of Hallmark movies.
yeah, because there's a lot of money in it.
And she did a lot. She did The Good Witch with Catherine Bell, which is another one of my favorites. But some
I
of
like
the
that
stuff
show,
I
too. That was
watch
good,
just because of her, but I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna. I can't do this. There's one of them. I can't even remember what it was, but that's this Cabin Connection. I couldn't even finish it, but I'm like, I want to say I've seen her. I love you, but I can't. I got to have some more sci-fi in it. Where's my Officer Hot?
Yeah,
Right
it's funny to
here.
watch those, and then all of a sudden you see one of them, and you're like, "Ooh, oh, wait, that's just wrong."
Yeah. These two are not the same.
Wait, you're totally not being the right way. Wait, where's your character?
That's like seeing to go from Warehouse 13 to Defiance. I'm like, it's not the same. Don't drink the tea, right? Don't drink the tea.
Don't drink the tea.
Or over here, she's British and she's drinking tea all the time. Don't drink her tea. Just saying.
Well, some actors do make the transition to Hallmark very, very well. Brandon Routh actually has several Hallmark holiday movies, like 3 in the same character. And
Yeah.
it is Brandon Routh. It's just, you can see him in
Who's
the movie.
Brandon Routh?
He played Superman. He also played in Arrow and The Flash,
Mhm.
The Atom.
No.
Okay. It's all right. You'll see the
You
face
need
and
to
you're
show
going to be like,
Shannon pictures. You can't
Yeah.
name off names. You need to show Shannon
Look,
pictures.
I've
Then she'll be
spent
fine.
too many years. I've spent over 25 years in security and law enforcement. Show me the picture. I could do a mugshot, but couldn't tell you
Shannon needs the picture.
couldn't tell you the name, but I can show you the picture.
Hmm.
This
all right,
one.
I'm working on it right now. Just hold on your horses. Got to find a good picture of him. There we go. There's one.
There's my picture.
Yeah.
It looks like a knockoff of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that one kind of does. Maybe this one's a little bit better. Probably the same.
It
He
looks
does have
better.
the Tom Cruise
It looks
look.
better than Tom Cruise. Okay.
I actually met him in person here at Rose City. He was at
Okay,
Rose City
now
one
I
year.
know who that is.
With
You
the
should-
Superman costume?
You should have led with that.
I did. I
should've
said he
led with
played
that.
Superman.
No, I mean the picture. The picture. You should have led with the picture.
All right. This episode was supposed to take place in Unionville, Colorado. It was actually filmed in Unionville, Ontario. So at least they got Unionville right,
They
right?
got the Unionville.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that cracks me up, not to totally go off of Warehouse 13, but that a lot of things that Hallmark films too, there was one that they filmed at Wallowa Lake, which is northeastern Oregon. I mean, I like grew up there. and they were supposedly filmed it at the lodge. And I saw this lodge come up on the picture, and I was like, yeah, that's no,
It's like a shed.
that's not even no. This is like they've got this big, nice, huge mansion, and they're making the lake look like this destination place. And I'm like, I really hope no one thinks that that's what they're going to see when they go to the Wallowa Lake Lodge, because it's literally like a log cabin kind of thing.
So it's like
not anywhere near what they're putting on the screen.
So a pond and a little bitty 1-bedroom cabin. Like something from Friday the 13th.
I mean, it's a nice lodge. There are several rooms, but it was built with logs. Like, it's not huge. That big mansion-looking thing is actually in several Hallmarks. If you watch, it shows up as the same cabin. I'm like,
I was going to mention that I think I know the one that you're talking about. It's really dark brown, and it's got an elbow in it, and I've seen it. it, and if not that one, I've seen ones like it. And they use it over and over. They film like 6 or 7 or 8 movies.
They use the same houses too. You're like, what? I know that house. That was in that episode.
I don't know. You're giving me some Friday the 13th vibes there. No cabin in the woods.
Talking about Friday the 13th, the old lady, when she throws her husband's ashes and then she breaks out the spray paint and then starts to spray paint graffiti in the F word. And like, ooh,
she got a little aggressive.
Yeah, this whole thing is risque. I mean, the F word, and then actually, we talked about touching the boobies last episode. There was some actual boobies.
There was some grabbage in this one.
There was some grabbage in this one, yes.
I'm wondering, was she okay with that, you think?
The actress? I don't know. I mean,
Joanne Kell.
I guess you just...
I know later on in the series, she wasn't okay. There was this one particular episode in the 5th season, which I don't claim the 5th season, but I know we're going to have to go there eventually, where she had to put on a pair of panties, and it was an artifact, but she had to pull them on in order to get the spark in order for it to go, but she said she didn't like that. I was like, well, I remember watching behind the scenes where they're like, why do I have to wear this and he doesn't have to wear this, But then again, she also wore pleather and boots, and I was a fan.
She was dressed up in a lot of leather in France when she was kicking butt.
I'm just saying, I'm a fan.
She was, yep.
There wasn't just the boobies touchage. There was the mud wrestling, basically, in the goo at the very beginning between her and Pete.
Yes. Yeah, they got it. That negative energy. They're just they can't have that negative energy in the warehouse.
Takes it and throws it on her.
I know. Splat.
Yeah, you didn't see her face, so I can only imagine it was pre-coordinated and that she had actually closed her eyes, mouth, and everything.
One would hope. One would hope. But again, you get to see the camaraderie of the two people that are becoming friends and learning how to be partners and trust each other. Because take it from me, you have to have trust when you have a partner that you're spending all day long with.
Well, yeah, she wants him to lock her up because she's been infected, so she needs to be locked up. She can't be trusted. And he's like, you're just going to have to trust me that I trust you and I can figure this out.
And even if he takes a punch, I still trust you. So,
yeah, at the end when he was like, if you were going to tell me that I was going to be like kicked, smacked to death by my partner.
If this is the way I was going to die by my partner,
it'd be very low on the list.
Yep.
So another thing to date this is the 50-cent newspaper, where there was actually a newspaper box. It was 50 cents and it was right there on the street. And the old lady knocks it over and it's like, 50 cents, can you believe this? And then she walked away. But the fact that there was a newspaper box on the street, and this was 2009, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, well, I could date it another way. That was the year before Michaela was born.
I remember that. I was in Hawaii when Michaela was born.
January of 2010?
Yeah.
It was a cold weekend.
It was warm for me.
It was for me too, actually. Everyone else had to suffer.
Well, I would hope so. If it was cold in Hawaii, we're in a lot of trouble.
It was like 20s, and here in Dallas, I spent 17 hours in a room with blankets. I was good.
Well, it does get cold there from time to time. Like my parents took a Hawaiian cruise, like you get on a boat and you cruise to all the islands in 10 days. So you get the whole experience, whatever. Unfortunately, when my parents went, it was like the coldest week Hawaii had gotten in 100 years. So it was like 40 degrees and stuff like that. So the boat is not outfitted for cold weather. So they said they were like huddling in the dining rooms and stuff like that, just trying to stay warm during the transits.
All I can say is it's almost hoodie weather.
It's almost Han Solo weather.
Yeah, right now,
almost fall, y'all.
You know what? You can keep your warm weather, Shannon. You sent me like yesterday I had 106 degree temperature here. And today it's like it reached, I think, 100. And we've got wildfire smoke all over the place. So not only do you like walk outside and feel like you're breathing a campfire, but it's hot.
You walk
It's
outside
not
here,
humid,
it
but
feels like you're opening an oven.
Yes, it feels like you opened an oven.
And I could tell you, even though we're in the middle of August, right? This is still, I think yesterday or maybe the day before was the first time we broke over a 30-day streak of triple digits. So today it was
keep it.
Whopping 98, which felt like a cool front. So
I don't want it. You can keep it.
I don't want it either. I don't want it either. Waiting for September.
Well, let's keep the temperature up a little bit. Let's cook some cookies. And Carolyn's mom has a very important job on this podcast.
There was in the beginning when they were discussing going to Colorado, there were plates being cleared from the table. Whether or not there were cookies on them, we don't know. However, at the very end,
right,
there was a plate of cookies, but the only person that ate a cookie was Artie. Neither Micah nor Pete grabbed a cookie off of that, nor did they drink their milk because they were telling Artie that they blew up his car.
You're too busy punking him.
And then they said, psych.
Nice car with GPS in it.
Yeah.
And a cassette tape.
And the custom leather. See, those must be custom
like an 8-track
leather.
tape.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it wasn't an 8-track for Artie. It should have been an 8-track.
Well, at a certain age, a certain person wants a nice car.
There wasn't any cookies eaten by Pete or Micah that I could tell, but Artie did eat a cookie at the end.
Artie also had, the warehouse thing going on, and Lena was right there with him, like, you need any help? And he's like, I gotta, refusing to get help. And then the entire electrical grid goes down. And she goes, I guess I am helping.
I laughed at that part actually because I'm just looking for it. He's like, oh, I found it.
Yeah, found it.
Yep, he needs a helper that's going to make his life living hell for the while, and then he'll become like a daughter to him.
So out of the 3 episodes, I would say my favorite is still the pilot. I would say my second favorite is this episode, Magnetism. I think it beat out Resonance from last time.
Yeah. Oh, the chair, the artifact, the second artifact that actually was causing all of this was actually James Braid.
Yep.
James Braid's chair. He's the father of hypnotherapy. That was the second artifact.
Is it true? Who is this person? Is it a true person?
I don't know. I didn't look it up. I just wrote it down. I remember.
I think it is. I mean, the artifact itself releases people's subconscious desires. When people sit in the chair, the iron springs activate the artifact's properties when a descendant of James Braid with similar vocal patterns speak to people in the chair. The descendant's voice acting as a tuning fork. It is the main artifact of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some seriously, like the sheriff's subconscious desire to squash a virus, and he's got conspiracy. Man, you want a guy who thinks there's conspiracies everywhere. This is the sheriff's subconscious was like, woo, that's a little over the top.
I went to what is it called? Britannica? Britannica. Yeah. That
like
thing.
the encyclopedias?
Britannica. I went to Britannica. James Braid was born in 1795 in Scotland. He died in March 25th, 1860. He was noted as a surgeon and a pioneer investigator of hypnosis. who did much
Ah.
to divorce that phenomenon from prevailing theories of animal magnetism. I believe he was also a golfer.
So what we're saying is that even though he may not have been that important, he's still history, and it's true.
It was still mostly true. I mean, that's kind of cool. That's cool.
I think they do that stuff on purpose. I think they go through and they take artifacts that no one's ever heard of, but if you go and look at them, maybe that is true.
It was a different James Braid that was the golfer. This was just the surgeon.
Can you imagine the magnetism on the golf? Yes, it'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't like golf. I just don't like doing it. So
I tried it as a kid. It was all right, but it didn't never stick.
I don't have the patience for putt-putt. I could never do golf.
I don't mind mini golf. I actually like mini golf. I will do mini golf, but I'm not a golfer per se. Although it's funny because my grandma wanted us to play golf, and because I'm left-handed, she wouldn't buy me left-handed golf clubs. She wanted me to learn right-handed, and if I liked it, then she would buy me left-handed golf clubs. I'm like, but I've already learned right-handed, so why would I want left-handed golf clubs?
You know, it's funny
So
how...
I actually golf right-handed.
To get off topic for just a second, for us left-handed people in a right-handed world, that most people don't realize that everything is right-handed people. Even the pen that you hold in your hand, the letters are upside down if you put it in your left hand. I mean, no, the letters are upside down if you hold it in your right hand. That makes sense? Or was I said that backwards? Oh, it is. Hang on. Yes, if you put the pen in your left hand, the lettering is upside down because it's meant for right-handed people. See, he's going to test it.
Putting a pen in your...
Yeah.
Told you.
Oh, written on the pin. The pin, yeah, the stuff written on a pin.
So
Yeah.
it's made for right-handed people so you could see it when it's upside down if we hold it in our left hand.
I never really noticed that.
Snobs.
The only things that I notice that are a pain in the butt to use are scissors.
Yes.
Because those hurt.
Yes.
Stick scissors in your left hand, SP. It hurts.
But
I've done it.
But you learn how to use it right-handed.
Yeah, I lost usage of my right hand for half the year last year, so I had to do everything left-handed. So yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And I am right-handed, but I shoot left-handed in hockey.
Well, that's funny.
When I was in 5th grade, I broke my left wrist. And I never had therapy or anything, but I lost all of my strength. So I eat and I write left-handed. But when you're forced to have to use the other hand, that's where all your strength comes from. I can't even shoot my weapon left-handed.
How many bones have you broken in your life, Shannon?
My nose, my thumb, a rib on each side,
Ouch.
my foot. Does my head count?
Yes. We'll
Absolutely.
count that one.
That's a lot of bones. I'm forgetting something.
I'm going to have to wrap you in bubble wrap.
So
Did I-
5 or 6?
Did I say my thumb?
Yes,
I
you
don't think
say your
so.
thumb.
Oh, okay.
So 6.
I have a co-host on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sith Witch.
7.
I-
My wrist.
Oh. Between you and her, so accident prone, except for you're not really accident
have
prone.
more.
You are more just aggressive.
I am aggressive.
No.
I broke my pinky toe one time. I was riding my bike and I was jumping
Ouch.
curbs barefooted.
Oh, yeah, that'll
Because
do
I
it.
was stupid, right? And when I jumped it, my foot slipped off the pedal and my foot hit the curb as I was going over it. Aggressive. I don't think I didn't break my back, obviously, but I really bruised it because I skateboarded off the roof of my house one time.
I remember this
Of
story.
course you did.
Into the back of your dad's truck, right?
Yes, he had.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I did. I put a mattress in the back of my dad's truck.
Oh, God.
My dad was a roofer, so I took his ladder and put up against the wall, and I climbed up there with my skateboard, and it was perfectly matched. Everything, and I landed perfectly on it, just where I thought I was going to land. But I didn't take an account for the bounce. And when I bounced out, I hit the corner of the house with my spine, or right next to my spine. And of course, as a kid, it's one of those things that you're never going to tell anybody that you've just done this.
You know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, just like
You
putting
did
nails.
what?
Yeah, just like putting nails in the street, watching them disappear. Yeah, I've done that. So when my dad came out to check on me, and I was trying to sit up a nail with my shoe, and I just had to step down on it so he wouldn't get caught. And then it was a roofer's nail, it was a short little fat nail, and I couldn't get it out by myself, and I had to have him take it out along with my shoe. Karma's bitch. Yep.
That's terrible.
But yes, I have skateboarded off the house. I have jumped off the back of the truck and broke my foot. Aggressive is a good word for me, yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a miracle you're still alive.
Tell me about it. I mean, sometimes I don't know if I am. My short-term memory has disappeared this year.
What did you just say?
Yeah, exactly. What?
I'm sorry, were you guys speaking? I had to know.
Bear had to make a chart for me yesterday with her own little 10-year-old, right? She made a chart for me for when I take my medicine because I could take it and then minutes
You forget
later,
you took it?
I don't remember I took it, but did I take it? But I can't take another one because you have to space them out. So I'm like, now I got to wait.
Can you put it in like a little pill bottle that's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then
I have them.
like just take that out for the day, and then you can look at, because I did that for my parents so that they know that they've taken the
I
drug.
have them, but I use
Make
that
sure.
only to take that with me at different locations. Like I keep one in my work bag, I keep one in my work truck, and my regular truck. I take it with me, but I take it 12 hours apart, so 7:30 and 7:30. So you think I'd remember, but
Well, I think they have ones that have like you can also set alarms on your phone.
I have one of those too.
Well, the alarm could go off and you
then I
take the
don't-
pill,
yeah.
and then 5 minutes later, you'd be like, did I take my pill?
Exactly. So I'm just saying, I remember things long term, but my short term is kind of shot. But when they rewire everything inside your head for a while, I guess that's when that happens. But
Yeah, that happens.
damn it.
So next time, we're going to be talking about Warehouse 13, Season 1, Episode 4, Claudia.
Yay!
This will be our introduction to a favorite main character. We're all looking forward to this. I mean, none of it's been bad so far, but this is going to be fun.
I
to
so need a Claudia at work.
Meet Claudia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need a Claudia at my warehouse. That would make things so much easier during the day.
I think everybody could use a Claudia. I seem to be the Claudia at work, actually. I fix things.
So
Me
if you
too.
want to leave us hate mail, you can go ahead and email Shannon. She's got a special email set up for this.
Don't hate on me.
13. No, hate mail on me. Warehouse 13, the number 13, not the word 13. Warehouse 13 fancast at gmail.com.
No one's going to hate on us. Everyone loves Warehouse 13. And if you didn't, why would you listen to us?
Well, they're listening for you. They're not listening for me. They just want me to shut up.
But I'm awesome, so we'll get no hate mail.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't. I mean, no one talks to the janitor anyway, so.
You walked into that one.
We found out in the Breakfast Club why that's actually important.
Nice one. Nice comeback there.
Yeah.
Child of
there
the
you
80s right there.
Yeah.
go. Child of the 70s, but lived through the 80s. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, me too. I was born
Yeah.
in 76.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a bicentennial, baby.
I know.
I hope you get to see the next centennial, by the way. I won't make it there, but I hope you do.
Look.
That's a lot.
Look.
I don't know if
Let's
I make
just-
it.
Let's just take praise that I'm actually going to make it to unless something happens between now and then, to my next birthday next month. So,
Yeah, woohoo.
woohoo. It was
Yeah, so send an email and wish Shannon a happy birthday.
there was a good
Yes.
possibility that wasn't going to happen.
Warehouse13fancast at gmail.com.
We did have some feedback on the Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. We did have like
It's the
one
X.
person that
Oh, yeah?
whatever.
Twitter. Well, who? What?
Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter
It's
because I
Twitter.
like Twitter because I
All
like
right.
tweets rather than whatever you call it on the X.
X's?
So we got some feedback.
We did. It was from Suncast.
All right.
He said that he's liking the Warehouse 13 podcast. And then he said, do you think in an alternate reality,
Oh, yeah. I remember answering that one.
Warehouse 13 could become a series in the vein of Doctor Who, by which I mean the Warehouse is the doctor that continually reincarnates and has rotating groups of companions that surround it.
That was a deep question. I can just tell you, I answered that like at 2 a.m. and I was on drugs. Not
You
the bad
did, but
drugs,
actually it
but
was
on my
pretty
drugs.
Why are
good.
you not on drugs?
Not the bad ones, but on my broken head drugs. Okay.
Yeah, you're constantly on them all the time.
I know, but I still answered that.
You did
I think you
answer
pretty
it.
good.
And then I did too. I said, "Ooh, that's an interesting thought." Now, full disclosure, I have never watched Doctor Who.
Me either,
know.
but I love
Yes.
Torchwood.
Oh my god, I'm a terrible sci-fi person.
I'm
I
not.
just never watched it. But it's not like I don't know what. I mean, you can't be a sci-fi fan and not know who Doctor Who is and the TARDIS and everything else. I get the things, but I don't know it. So I was like, that's an interesting idea. And then he said he thinks if it had been treated a little more like Doctor Who, the series could have lasted longer. It shares many of the core similarities. If they had changed it up a little bit, I think they could have gone that way. It could have been that there was a warehouse moves, reincarnates, and a new group of agents' companions are selected.
But it does
There's
that.
so much more in the respected similarities to Doctor Who. Perhaps they didn't want to try that, or perhaps Syfy didn't want to do that.
But
and
you
said,
notice
well,
I answered that. The warehouse does reincarnate. That's why there's
Yeah,
13.
there's
Yeah,
been
you
13
did.
of them.
The agents reincarnate. There's always agents. Even when they pass away, they get put into the echelon vaults, but they still find more. So, I mean, it does that in a sense because you already had Warehouse 12, which was in London with HG, to Warehouse 13. And I think at the end of the series, I want to say it was moving to China or something like that. It was getting
don't
ready
remember.
to move. Do you remember at the end of the series? When it was getting the warehouse wanted to move. It wasn't the agents.
Yeah.
So you either
Yeah.
move with it or you don't. But that's the same
So
thing.
we appreciate Suncast for reaching out to us and giving us that feedback. It was interesting to talk about, even though I haven't ever. Don't hate me. Don't send me hate mail. I haven't ever watched Doctor Who.
They can't send you. I've never watched Doctor Who either. But like you, I understand the basis of it. But I like watching Torchwood.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
First of all, my favorite doctor is Tom Baker. And it's a lot of people's favorite doctor that grew up about the same time I did. And
Is that the curly haired guy?
Yeah. I know a lot of people have favorite doctors, and my favorite is just Tom Baker. You can't take that away from me. And he was in the special that they had, the Day of the Doctor, the Night of the Doctor, that sort of stuff. He was actually in it. So they got to bring him back. And the warehouse is very TARDIS-like. And basically, I think, you swap the doctor for the TARDIS, and that's what you have with the warehouse. The warehouse has been reincarnated.
Right.
I think they're already doing that, Suncast. We just didn't see the next iteration with Syfy because they weren't going to be able to continue the series any longer. It's not like
Syfy.
the BBC where they were able to keep this going. Matter of fact, even Doctor Who was in threat of not continuing recently. So nothing's immune to.
Do you think Doctor Who
cancellation, especially when you're on Syfy?
Do you think Doctor Who would have been canceled a long time ago if they tried to stay with one doctor all the time? You get boring after a while because you do the same thing over again.
That was the problem. That is a special that came on. If you're not steeped in the Doctor Who history, there was a special, I forget what the title of it was, that came along the same week, I think, as the Day of the Doctor. And it was about the first Doctor. So you get to see what happened at that point in time. And the first Doctor literally was just getting too old to continue. Doctor Who was a surprising hit. They never knew that they were going to get to the stardom that they did. And the main actor that they had, everybody beloved. They loved him. He was beloved, but he just couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't remember his lines. He was tired. He couldn't act. Mm-hmm. And he was thinking of ways to keep this going. And then the staff was like, no, we're going to write you out of the show. It's a beautiful death scene. And then they did their first regeneration. And that's what kept that show going. And then because they had already done the regeneration, they were able to do it again and again and again and again.
Right. So if
Yeah,
you
once you have that mold.
So
Yeah.
instead of changing the doctor, you change the warehouse. So it's kind of on the same basis.
But they already do that in the show. They just didn't do it on Syfy.
We never got to see the change. That's what they were going to do at the
They talked about the previous warehouses.
Yeah.
And then the caretakers that have been there to not only be stewards of the warehouse, but be stewards of the things and go out and grab the things and make sure the world is safe kind of thing. So it's kind of along the same lines. Yep. But unfortunately, we only got to see one iteration of a warehouse. We only got Warehouse 13. We didn't get anything else.
And if you're listening to this and you're interested in Doctor Who, I can recommend a podcast. It's called Gallifrey Public Radio. I know the hosts of that. It's a very good show. And they've interviewed a lot. It's an American show. It's not a British show. They've interviewed a lot of the cast that come over here, and they've gone to the sets and the experience over in the UK and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So yeah, you can catch that. It's Gallifrey Public Radio. I think it's gallifreypublicradio.com. It is a very good Doctor Who podcast. There's many out there, so if that's not your speed, you can find something else out there. But Doctor Who is a fandom that spans way back to the early 60s.
It's huge.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, there is nobody left alive today that has seen every single episode because they've lost episodes, so they don't have them to show anymore. All right. Anything else?
I really liked this episode. I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting to see what comes out of everyone's subconscious, like a nurse that wants, or the nurse that just wants to touch boobies because his wife is still breastfeeding, and the nun that thought she could fly because she wants to escape. Yep. The
brilliantly done.
Brilliant violinist kid who actually really hates playing the violin.
I can see that.
His mama probably made him do it.
Yeah,
more than likely. Yeah,
really good, and he just wants to go out and play with people or whatever.
Yeah, he just wants to be a normal kid, and he's not. He has to do all these violin things that his mom's probably making him do. Which he's a brilliant violinist, but I mean, as a kid, all you want to do is play with your other friends.
I think one of the things that made this such a good episode, it was basically a second pilot. Yes, we are a third episode in, but it was directed by the same guy that did the pilot. So you got a rerun going into the third episode, Magnetism. And I think you got a lot of the same feels, but you got some slight corrections because you got a slightly different Pete from the pilot. He's
definitely
more
got
funny.
A different Micah.
Yeah, definitely got a different, and you get to see the playfulness between the two. And they were able to take the characters. Jace was able to take the characters and just run with it. So I think having the same, you never get this. You never get the guy or gal that directs a pilot to come back a few episodes later. So just by the fact that Jace was able to do this, I think really set this series on a great foot, because usually it starts to be like, where's the series? What's the footing or whatever? But he just hits you bang, bang, 1 and 3. And you're like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Another favorite scene was when Lena and Micah were talking, and Micah was like, God, he is such a child. I can't handle him. He is such a child. And Lena's like, I think he's sexy. You could just kind of see Micah's revulsion. She's like, so not my type. And then she's like, well, what is your type? She says, someone with opposable thumbs.
We're going to come around to that later on. I'm just saying.
That, like brother, sister, kind of like, oh my God, you drive me crazy, but I have to protect you because you're my partner and I worry about you, but why are you such an idiot?
We're going to have to come back and quote this episode, what you just said.
Yes, I know.
When I go on my soapbox, but I have to do a smackdown on the people because Jack Kitty.
Yeah, no, you've got a soapbox in that room because your husband uses it quite a bit.
Yeah. He does. That's funny. Yes, he does.
All right. That's it for this podcast. Remember, warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Syfy Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
Looking here, I'm like, why am I looking to the corner? But he's moved the camera. I don't know if I like it. Hang on.
Oh, I see.
I can move you.
Whoa. I moved.
You did? I can move everybody.
You gotta tell me before. I gotta close my eyes. I'm gonna get dizzy. You do that stuff.
Okay, close your eyes.
Thanks.
What the
Thanks so
hell?
much. Wow.
I told you to close your eyes.
I get the same way. Aha, there I am. Okay. With all my infinite
There, now you're
confused-
perfect.
Right. Oh, right in the middle. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I
Door
had to
open.
move your camera because I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see myself.
Oh, okay.
The door slowly closes. I could feel Sean rolling his eyes and going, hey, just slam her in there for the next hour.
Yeah.
Hey, did you guys record Strange New Worlds yet?
Yeah, where's our podcast, woman?
I don't know. No.
You haven't recorded it yet?
Who said I was going to do Strange New Worlds? Oh, sorry. No.
The podcast, honey.
some
The
reason,
podcast.
Look, for some reason, I thought Stranger Things. Whatever. No, we haven't done it because Jake had his wedding anniversary this weekend or whatever, and his wife said, I didn't know,
Oh.
circumcised, and there's no terms are we going to do it. So, and then he had to work. So,
That's valid. Okay, fine. That's valid.
for some strange reason, I thought you said Stranger Things, but brain injury. Gonna forever use that brain injury.